Hello everybody, it's Holly from Besotted Orchids. Today we are going to get rid of the moss on this twinkle that I did purchase from Kingwood Gardens. We're going to place it in this beautifully aged terracotta pot that I really love for inside the home. I am working out of a used pizza box lid so that all the detritus falls into it instead of on our table, because in an hour or two I have to have dinner on the table here, and we do eat in the dining room every night. Every meal is in the dining room because I have an island in the kitchen, but nobody likes to be in there for some reason. We all want to come into the dining room. So the first thing I'm going to do with this twinkle, did I say this came from Kingwood? This did come from Kingwood Gardens, and it does have the sphagnum ball. And the problem with the sphagnum is the sphagnum might seem wet, but the roots maybe have not gotten the water. They need to have that moisture. So if I can click through here, and I do have sterilized scissors. I do want to point that out. Get rid of all of this. This is just the twine that they wrapped it with. Oh, they had left some bark in here. Basically, they took the bark as it came out of the container, which I'm not going to fight terribly bad to remove this. That is, if it's stuck to the root, I would rather leave a little bark than damage the root system. And as you can see, this is very dry. Very dry. This is going to require a very nice soaking. But it still has a beautifully plump pseudobulb. So it's not gone dry for a very long time. This was the original. And you can see back behind it is the larger one, was the next one to come on. So if we're looking at this from the side, first one, second one, if it continues in the pattern that is forming already, it's going to put another one out here. So when we put this in this beautiful little pot, I am not going to hug it tightly this direction. I am going to put the side with the former growth, the very first growth, closer to the pot. So this side has more room to come out and grow. This is the way it's going to go. So I have quite a mess going here. I'm going to set this up here on my cake stand that I put here for height, and it doesn't matter because you can't see it anyhow. What I have over here is a bark mixture with a tiny bit of sphagnum, tiny bit. It has some perlite in it, and it also has some charcoal pieces that are sadly small. They weren't as large as I thought they were going to be in the mix. So what I'm going to do is add a small amount at the bottom. And yes, I do leave the aging. I have to have the aging on my pots. It just looks so pretty. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to snug it up closer to the side that has the former original growth on it. And I'm going to leave room on the side over here for the new growth that's coming following this one. And sometimes twinkles will develop too on each new pseudobulb. So you want to leave some room here. What I'm going to do is carefully, and you can shake it around a little bit. What you don't want to do is damage the root system. You can always go back and add a little bit later. You don't want to damage things. These are epiphytes. They're fine if there's a little bit of air in there. That's how they are designed to grow. There's no sense just jamming that in there. That is not going to help anything. Now, if it is a little low, you can just pull it until it kind of reaches the level you want. I want my orchids to sit at what we would consider ground level. So I want the bark to be level with the pseudobulb at the base. And I think that looks quite good. So here is a twinkle, and I believe it's called something fantasy fragrant fantasy something. It's a white variety. Now, being that I don't know how it's been cared for, I don't know anything about this orchid except it did come from somewhere in Hawaii. I am going to add, and you might think I'm adding too much, but this is not all fertilizer. Some of this is just like a nutrient. Some of this is earthworm castings, feather meal, bone meal, kelp. So it's not all the hard, heavy-hitting fertilizer. So I am going to just sprinkle this about carefully. And sometimes when you water, maybe a piece comes out anyhow. So I'm not overly concerned about it. I might add a tiny bit more where I see a little bit of root up here just because it has been so dry. Now, when I'm finished with this, I will take it to the other room where I have I should have had my water here, but I've been watering in the other room. So I will give this a 5-10 minute soak at least. It has gone without water for a little longer than I would like. But, oh, excuse me. I am getting a notification that my storage is full. Always happens. So here is the twinkle that we have repotted. I may put a few more videos out tomorrow. I have some pots here. I feel like they're maybe a little bit big. So tomorrow's homeschool jump day at the trampoline park. I may stop over at Lowe's and get a smaller, I think these are 6-inch pots I have here. I just feel like they're a little bit big. So I'll probably drop down to a 4-inch, or maybe these are 8-inch, whatever they are. I'm going to drop down one pot size for these. I feel like it's just too big for the dendrobiums. So here is this absolutely beautiful little twinkle. Let's see if I can get this so you can see it. Pull it back a ways. I'm framed in the photo. So I want to give a shout out to some new subscribers. We have Laura. We have this is another dendrobium sitting over here. Sorry if you see the leaf. We have Laura. We have Carlos, Sammy, Marie Flanagan. Now I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, the Marie. Leftice, again, hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. Monica. And we have Alicia, who I did meet at Kingwood Gardens. She is a very new subscriber. So welcome each and every one of you. And it was so great to meet you, Alicia. It was also great to meet Julie. So I had a really fun time up at Kingwood Gardens. If you didn't see my previous video, it was an absolute free-for-all. Everybody was just grabbing any orchid they could get their little hands a hold of. It was fun. I really am enjoying probably a little too much being able to go in person and purchase a few orchids that I actually see in bloom. Mind you, I'm typically ordering online. I'm in Ohio. We don't have lots of nurseries. We have Windswept in Time, and I now know we have Mayfield orchids, but we don't have a lot of orchid facilities and nurseries like you have down south, and particularly in like Hawaii. We don't have those orchids there at our disposal easily. So I am enjoying going to the plant sales, and I have another orchid show coming up in April. My twin brother, Howard, he'll be going with me again. So I'm going to have to bring my own baggie so this time he's not carrying them. Howard, seriously, you don't get to carry your sister's orchids? You get tired of carrying them. So I will be bringing a bag next time. But I'm thinking I will hopefully limit myself to 2. We'll see. It's getting a little out of hand, people. There's a lot of orchids here. I said in an earlier video, I feel like I'm shopping on Temu, shopping like a billionaire. It's not the money. I have set aside a certain amount for my orchids this spring, and I've gone a little above, but come on. It's very rare that I get to see orchids in person, in bloom, smell them, look at them, see the fragrance, purchase what I want, and come home with my blooms. It's typically I'm unboxing from Triton or Carmela. So, and I do have an order coming from Triton this week. So we shall see what's coming in that. So yeah, I did want to give a shout out to the new subscribers. I appreciate each and every one, from the very first subscriber to infinity, whoever's going to be the next one's coming on. I appreciate everybody subscribing. It does help the channel. It's fun to see the numbers growing. It's fun to see the names. I do enjoy giving the shout outs. So I hope it's not becoming monotonous, and I hope I have not forgotten anybody. What I get is notifications for new subscribers. And I really hope between one video and the next one I'm searching through that I haven't forgotten anybody. So if I have, welcome to the channel, and I apologize if I have forgotten to give you a shout out. Because it's fun. It's fun to hear your name on a video. I know if another orchid person like Roger Frampton, he did give me a shout out. And that was really, really nice. It's nice to hear your channel name. It's nice to hear your name. It's just something fun. It's how we're living nowadays. The world that was so enormous has shrunk. You can be in a room talking about orchids with people from all over the world, and they're right there with you. They're watching. Sometimes when I'm watching, I do YouTube in the morning sometimes. Sometimes here, just on my phone, where I'm sitting here with my orchids. Sometimes I go in the living room with the dogs. They like to cuddle up on the couch with me, and I put it on the TV. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm on the TV sometimes in people's houses. It's kind of surreal to think about. But I appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate everybody being kind. But here is a beautiful little twinkle added to my collection. I'm trying to think how many twinkles I have now. I have both parents. I have the Soto Annum, which is doing very, very well. I'm really pleased with that. And the Chiraphorum. Those are the parents. And then I have a pink. I have the Marguerite. I have this one. Oh, and I have Yellowbird. So I have 4 twinkles and then the 2 parents. I might say that's enough. Although they're relatively small plants, I might still say that is all I need in my collection. I think I'm covered. Unless they come up with a fabulous new color I have not seen, I think I'm pretty covered with that. So I have added to the dendrobiums. I have plenty of oncidiums. I do not need any more oncidiums. That being said, if I see a really cool one, might come home with me. But you will be proud of me. I did sell an orchid this weekend. I had multiples of my honey paragon butter that I love to no end, but I don't need multiples. So I did part with that. A friend bought it for a friend of hers, which was really nice of her. So I do try to get rid of any multiples that I have. You're not going to catch me getting rid of one that I don't have multiples of because I am a collector. Come on, when you just get that rush when you're out there looking or you're online. Come on, you all know the rush when you're online searching or you're at the orchid store, nursery, and you're grabbing your orchids. It is a bit of a rush. I do enjoy it. So I am a collector. I also really love the growing process. And of course I love the blooms. So I don't think there's any part of the growing process I don't enjoy for orchids except possibly every 4 or 5 days watering the collection. And I'm telling you, the terracotta pots did not help with my watering schedule. I'm just going to give you a heads up. If you're in an environment that's not moist, humid, you don't want to go terracotta unless you enjoy watering. I had to pick every one of my orchids up one by one, and I put them down in my pot of water. I give them a little going over. I make sure I check for things. That's one benefit to the way I'm doing it. I can look at each individual orchid. I don't go over them with a fine-tooth comb. I don't have time for that. There's a lot of orchids, but I do give them a quick go over every time I pick one up to water it. I look for spikes. I look for any damage. I just give it a quick go over. I will tell you, I've spotted some more spikes in the other room. I have a, I'm not going to remember the name of it. Some little orchid over there, way over there with all my orchids. She is setting a very nice spike. I cannot remember what she is. And then my Sweet 16, which is the smaller of the Sherry Babies, that is spiking. Quite a few of the oncidiums are spiking. And some of my dendrobiums, I'm seeing little spikes coming up out of. So we're going to have a very nice bloom throughout the summer, a bloom time. But I'll tell you what's going on over there. The area that I typically show you where all my orchids are sitting, I'm facing that now. I just couldn't fight the lighting today with the big window. So I'm just looking at orchids everywhere. It was almost a little overwhelming last night. I was like, wow, probably looked like a bit of a cray-cray. It was getting to be a bit much. Looking a little crazy with all the orchids here in the home. But you know the worst things I could do? My hobbies are reading, hiking, and orchids. I could be doing so much worse. I really could be doing worse. So we can't complain about the orchids, but sometimes I do wonder what my husband thinks when he comes in and he sees, wow, there's an awful lot of orchids my woman has been collecting. There's an awful lot of orchids sitting in this house. But they don't take up space. They take up space along the walls, along the windows. You're not walking over them on a daily basis. Now, right now, my table, granted, is full of orchids. But they will be moved off. They were only here for filming today. They will be moved, but they do need to be potted. So maybe tomorrow, If I get home in time, I might not get home in time. It's a homeschool day plus grocery day. I probably don't get home in time. But so let's see, Thursday after I watch Hello Plant Lovers with Matthew, I will be, I'll probably film a video of these orchids being potted. They do need a good soak today. And then I will remove some more of the moss and get them out of the pot to the other ones. I have 1, 2, 3. I am missing one. Didn't I buy 4 up there? There it is. There it is. It's over there. I have 4 more to pot. So I may come up when I get the actual right size pot that I need. I may do another potting video for you with some of the bigger ones. Show you how to check the leaves, how to wipe them down, get rid of any of the... Because sometimes at a nursery, you get the spray from the hose, and it leaves little marks, which they're not going to harm the orchid. But here in the house, I don't produce that because I bottom water. I just water the pot itself, not the leaves. So I want that off of my plants because it's not going to redevelop here in my home setting. So I want to thank everybody once again for viewing, for subscribing. It really is great. And it's great to start seeing a few of my subscribers. It really was a treat. Julie came up and she said, I follow your channel on YouTube. And that was so sweet. So I appreciate that. So anyhow, I'm going to get this mess cleaned up. I promised my family homemade chicken tenders for dinner. So apparently I need to clean and I need to start cooking dinner. We eat very early today, or every day, because my husband starts work so early. So our schedule shifts a little earlier than most people. Most people eat at 6 for their evening meal. We eat closer to 3, which is ridiculous. But he's hungry when he gets home. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. And above all, as always, enjoy those orchids.